The 2:02 a.m. voice memo. Welcome to this explainer. You know, we really do trust our smartphones implicitly, don't we? There are calendars, our communicators. Honestly, there are silent companions in the dark. But today, we're going to look at a deeply unsettling digital case file. We're breaking down a first-hand account of a smartphone documenting something it absolutely should not have been able to document, something literally impossible. So I want you to get comfortable, maybe even turn down the lights, because we're going to reconstruct this chilling timeline, step by step, using the exact source logs from one truly terrifying night. All right, let's dive right into this.
Thursday, August 27th, 2:15 a.m. Our source file actually kicks off with a super mundane reality. The user is just lying in bed. They've just finished recording a couple of quick voice notes on their phone to send to a friend about some upcoming weekend plans. And after hitting send, they do what millions of us do every single night. They lie there in the dark, totally bathed in the soft glow of the screen, and just silently scroll through social media. It's quiet, it's routine, it feels totally safe. But as they navigate back through their local audio recorder app, they spot a massive anomaly. There's an extra voice memo just sitting there in the saved files.
2:02 a.m., a secret 45-second recording. 2:15 a.m., the discovery in the app. This timeline reveals an impossible gap. Think about those timestamps for a second. The user discovers this file at 2:15 a.m., right? But the file itself is exactly 45 seconds long, and it's timestamped at precisely 2:02 a.m. Let's do the math on that. At 2:02 a.m., the user explicitly remembers that they were just silently scrolling. Their thumbs were moving, sure, but their mouth was completely shut. The room was dead quiet. And yet, somehow, their device had secretly activated its own microphone, captured 3/4 of a minute of audio, and just saved it locally, without a single prompt from the user. So naturally, the user clicks play. They're expecting to hear, empty room static, maybe the rustle of bed sheets, or just standard white noise. Ambient room sounds on the left, a low hum of a fan, and slow breathing. Anomalies at the 10-second mark on the right, overlapping rasping breath and a distorted underwater voice. Well, they definitely do not hear static. Let's break down this audio evidence exactly as it's described in the source material. At first, you get the expected audio, right? The safe, totally normal ambient sounds of an isolated bedroom. Through the little phone speaker, the user hears the low, rhythmic hum of their ceiling fan and the steady, slow sound of their own breathing. Everything is perfectly normal for exactly 10 seconds. But right at that 10-second mark, we hit the anomalies. A strange, rasping breath suddenly overlaps the user's own breathing. And then, a voice begins to speak. The source text describes this voice as sounding completely identical to the user's own voice, but slightly distorted. It had this wet, almost garbled quality to it, almost as if it was being spoken underwater by some bizarre acoustic doppelganger. He thinks he's alone in the dark. That is exactly what that underwater voice said. He thinks he's alone in the dark. I just want to let that sink in for a second. Imagine the absolute sheer terror of sitting in a pitch-black room, pressing play on a file you absolutely know you didn't record, and hearing a warped, twisted version of your own voice narrating your exact current situation right through the phone speaker. It's a complete violation of privacy, sure, but way more than that, it is a total psychological nightmare. This digital reflection is somehow observing the physical reality. He thinks the closet door is closed. The recording didn't stop, you see. That sentence continued. He thinks the closet door is closed. And this right here illustrates a terrifying shift in reality. The source says that in an instant, the user's blood literally turned to ice. Because this was no longer just some weird digital anomaly, right? It wasn't a crossed wire or a strange glitch in the phone's hardware. This voice, this thing, was providing real-time physical coordinates. It was entirely bridging the gap between lines of code and a tangible, immediate physical threat lurking in that very same room. Step 1, see the closet open 3 inches. Step 2, press the microphone button. Step 3, whisper, is anyone there? Step 4, play back the audio. So the user's reaction here is just pure panicked instinct. Step 1, they immediately glance across the room. And the closet door, which they distinctly, explicitly remembered closing before getting into bed, is now cracked open by exactly 3 inches. Step 2, with completely shaking hands, they don't run, they don't even turn on the lights. Instead, they try to use the very device that just warned them to investigate this. They hit the microphone button to test the room. Step 3, they record a brand new audio file, whispering a frantic, terrified question out into the dark. Is anyone there? Step 4, they stop the recording and instantly hit play to listen back. Look right behind your pillow. Okay, so this is the playback. The very second the user's panicked whisper of, "Is anyone there?" ends on the track, a second voice replies. But it doesn't reply out loud from the room. No, it replies instantly, seamlessly, already embedded directly on the audio track they just recorded. That wet, distorted voice simply says, "Look right behind your pillow." The absolutely crucial point here is that this entity, whatever it happens to be, isn't just standing in the room. It has completely bypassed the microphone's delay entirely. It is actively manipulating the device in real time, responding inside the local audio file before the user even has a single chance to process the silence in the physical room. The user freezes in place, a faint, icy breath on the back of their neck, the wet sound of skin sliding against the headboard. The phone screen flashes red, and a new memo auto-generates. This climax from our source material is just an absolute sensory invasion. The user freezes completely in place, totally paralyzed by that terrifying directive to look behind their pillow. And then the physical contact begins. They feel a faint, icy breath literally touch the bare back of their neck. This is immediately followed by a really distinct, nauseatingly wet sound of skin physically sliding against the wooden headboard directly behind their head. And right in the midst of this complete physical paralysis, the technology just takes over completely. Out of nowhere, the phone screen flashes a harsh, bright red in the dark. Without the user's thumb ever even coming near the glass, a brand new audio memo auto-generates entirely on its own. The phone is now recording all by itself. Don't turn around. And that is the message the phone generated, an unsolicited, auto-recorded final warning. Don't turn around. It is the absolute pinnacle of horror, isn't it? This device, which was supposed to be a tool completely under the user's control, has basically become the mouthpiece for something malignant that is currently sharing their bed. It recorded this phrase entirely on its own. Delete them immediately. Do not listen. Which really brings us to the final, most urgent takeaway from our source material today. Look, if you take anything away from this explainer, let it be this one unbreakable rule. If you ever open your smartphone in the morning or in the dead of night and you find that your local audio app has been recording clips on its own, if there are mysterious voice memos timestamped at hours when you know for a fact you were totally silent, delete them immediately. Do not press play, do not listen to the ambient room static, because the second you hear that voice on the track, you're acknowledging that it's there. What is your phone recording in the dark right now? We rely so heavily on these glowing rectangles to connect us to the world. We bring them into our most private, intimate spaces, and we leave them resting right on our nightstands. They're tiny little microphones always exposed to the dark. So I just have to ask you, as you sit there right now, what is your phone recording in the dark? Keep a really close eye on those voice memos. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and seriously, stay safe out there.